To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to place these lyrical douches in the bushes. Hey guys, welcome to Make It in Dubai. This is episode number 13 with Vignesh and
Shivang.
yes, right or left.
By the way, I think we need to thank the 13th subscriber, right? You just told me. Yeah.
Sir, it's 17th.
17th, okay.
What a guy.
Okay, 17th subscriber. Thank you so much for joining the pod.
Yes, thank you so much. I don't know if you joined us for the shorts or for the episode, but whatever it is, we are thanking you. So
Yeah.
one day you can look back and be like, I was a 17th subscriber.
Do we have the name?
I don't know. I have to go to YouTube Studio and see it.
Okay, fine. Leave it.
So welcome back, guys. And today we actually have something interesting because about 3 days ago, Shiv went to the Google office, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to the Google office in Dubai, and I also had something similar, but not as big as Shiv. Of course, he's the man here. So when we went through that experience, we found out there was a common issue. I would not say a common issue, but a common thought process that we both had, which is no matter where we are in the world, we have to be the best. So to give you guys an example, right? Since I'm in finance, I asked a question to one of my board members once. I asked him, for me, I want to be the best as someone in Wall Street, right? What is the difference between me sitting in Dubai and someone sitting in Wall Street? Like, what would be the big difference? He said the difference is the book bank and the way they sell. They're very shrewd and they're ruthless and stuff like that. So then that got me thinking. No matter where I am in the world, even if I go to the US, the people shouldn't look at me and go like, you know what, this guy's new to Wall Street. You can see he doesn't have the skills. He needs to do a lot of, brushing or whatever the fuck you call it. So I was like, I don't want to be like that. No matter where I go, I have to be at the top 1%, like the best of the best. So what do I have to do that? I'm sitting in Dubai. Okay, I'm lacking a lot of resources, but what am I doing? How am I doing to become that 1%? Who am I talking to? What am I learning? What am I observing? And the same goes to Shiv as well. What are we doing from our side to make sure that we end up in 1% of whatever it is you're doing in our industry or performance or skill, whatever it is, you end up at the 1% of it. How? What are we doing? So that's what I thought we will share with you guys in this podcast as well, because we discussed that 2-3 days ago.
I think you mentioned the sales part, right? I mean, I can mention my bit. I think you can even mention how we started talking about this, right? Because, I mean, as you mentioned that, after the whole Google visit, which I had,
Yeah.
there was something with running in my mind, I think, and I want to just discuss at that point of time where I felt that when these guys, the Google guys, like all these guys, product managers and different kind of managers inside, when they're sitting over there having all of these not workshops, but the panel discussions and multiple stuff like those. The things they were doing in a sense felt like it's larger in purpose and maybe it felt a bit bigger than what I mean I would normally do or what I mean you can normally do. That doubt, self doubt comes in mind. Okay, I'll give an example where let's say a guy who's a product manager of YouTube who's trying to build something on YouTube, and everybody in the fucking world almost uses YouTube, right? So his impact is way larger. His impact in sense of like work as well becomes too much leverage. Like he can reach so many people. His impact is actually more. So in that sense, when I started reflecting that part, I was like, man, I mean, will we ever be able to do that part? And plus on top of that, the other thought on the thread was that when these guys work at Google, they get access to so much products and services which is well known. Okay, so now let's say them compared to us. Okay, for some us working for a company which is not that well known, money might be there, but it's not that known as a Google. So the other thought which we started discussing was like can we compare ourselves to these guys, or are we even comparable? Is it like, okay, these are Fortune 500 guys, so we are nowhere close to them? That's how the whole discussion started, and that's how the whole like we actually try to unfold this whole piece. And then we actually like I think Vignesh, you actually gave a lot of clarity as well in terms of what you thought about this whole piece, and that actually helped us shape the whole discussion of we can actually be the best in what we're doing irrespective of Fortune 500 or not a Fortune 500. And that whole mindset shift is what I think this whole podcast should help everybody grow around.
True. So I will be giving, let's say, because I'm into sales and finance, and she was into digital marketing, right? So we'll give you guys insight on both. But I'll tell you what I told Shiv when he came up with this, because when she was telling me the whole story, like he was in Google and he saw that, uh, he had the experience, but he need, there's something called story. Like I was just telling him, when Andrew Tate comes and tells us something, oh, I did this, I did that, and that's why I got this. That's a story. So since, at the end of the day, I think about 2, 3 episodes ago, we were saying, 26-year-olds and 25-year-olds, right? So we have stories, which is good enough, but to be part of the 1%, we still need to create more stories. We still need to be part of more stories, right? So that's when I was telling Shiv, she was like, I wish I had more stories, man. Then I was telling him, apart from the stories though, when you visited Google office, did you have the same skill as everyone else? And that's how the whole topic started happening, right? So I was telling him, because I'll tell you how I look at sales. Now, when I compare myself to a Alex Hormozy or a Patrick Bet-David or a Jordan Belfort or anyone in Wall Street, my sales skills should not be different from them. Yeah, I can walk in and they can say, okay, Vignesh worked in Dubai, so his client base is not as much compared to an American, because a lot of billionaires and millionaires actually understand Wall Street and take that risk. But in Dubai, it's pretty hard to convince people into finance, right? So they can look at me and go, yeah, his book bank is not as good as ours because, yeah, this and that. But man, this guy's got the skills though. Just give him a month and he's going to get the same book bank as us. So that's when I was like, the skill should be the same. Now, Shiv can go into a Google office and they can ask him what company you're working for. It's not part of a Fortune 500 company. That means your skill must be bad. No, it's not part of a Fortune 500 company, but your skill set is still fucking good. Your skill set should be so good that you're no separable compared, or you're not like less compared to a Fortune 500 worker. How can we make that happen? So that's when I was telling Shiv. For me, what I do is I look at these guys. I look at Alex Hormozy. I look at Patrick Bet-David. I look at Jordan Belfort. I see the way they talk. I see the way they walk. Even with Andrew Tate, the way he says his stories. Like even in this podcast right now, if you compare myself from the first episode to the 13th episode, you would see that I don't say a lot of and ahs because I'm trying my best to take it away from my vocabulary, right? Any sentence I say, it goes in a flow. At least I try making it going in a flow. There might be your occasional and ahs, but I try my best to take it away. So these are the small lessons that you learn from the best of the best, right? You learn their mentality. You see what kind of topics they talk about. You see what kind of routine they have. You see what kind of contents they consume. So I see every single thing to make sure that I am part of that 1%. Like if I wake up in the morning, or if I wake up, let's say tomorrow morning, and if someone says, are you good as Alex Hormozy when it comes to sales? Are you good as Jordan Belfort? I should be able to say, yes, I am. Yeah, I might not have the success like them. I might not have the book bank like them, but no, my skills and the way I can talk to someone is exactly the fucking same. That is what we are going for here. And I feel that in Dubai, this is an issue because everybody works in a company here. And the talent pool, of course, is multicultural. But when you compare it with a Silicon Valley or a Wall Street or any of those head offices, it's less. You would feel that you're not as good as them. But why? Why can't we be as good as them? Why can't we get the same skills at least as good as them? So when we go someday or when we meet them, they shouldn't feel that, okay, this person is still, learning. No. They should feel that, fuck, this person is the same level as us. If given the same opportunity, this fucker's gonna, kill it. That's how it should look. So that is how we started this conversation. That's literally what I told Shiv. And I think, Shiv, what was it? What else was I telling you?
So this was one major piece. The second piece where we actually were discussing is that, let's say we don't know exactly my skill set versus a Fortune 500 person skill set. Like how do we even measure that? Like I don't, it's very tough to say. Okay, you know what? How much do I know compared to this guy? This is something which we were discussing. But actually I researched a bit about like what we can go about it. So the two ways. I mean, I try to build this piece. One is basically when you go for these job openings, right? The resume, the job descriptions, they have that what kind of criteria they look for. Okay, so what kind of skill within the skill, like they give a lot of parameters, right? You get an idea, basic idea from there. Now I went through that, so you get a basic idea. Then you can go on LinkedIn as well on these guys' profile. Like some of them actually put out descriptions of what they're doing, how they're working on, what products they're working on, what exactly makes sense to them, because they want to show the achievements as well. That is one way of data collection which I actually went through. Then the second part I did was I actually went on ChatGPT, asked if you were working in a Fortune 500 company and you were, let's say, the top 10% of digital marketers in this world, what are skills and what are the achievements do you have?
No fucking way you did that.
And it gave me that list, bro. And it was even better than the LinkedIn and the job description research I did. And it actually opened up so much stuff. So that ChatGPT opened so many doors in a sense that okay, these things I can learn. It's not like I don't know a lot of stuff. 80-90% was the same. Like I actually know them. But the 10% which really matters was, like sitting over there, which I now know from ChatGPT. So in fact, I even went in ahead and asked, okay, I know these ones and I have this 10% missing. How do you suggest I bridge this gap? Can you make a detailed plan of 1 year and strategize it for me? And it gave a plan.
Fuck, you want to walk through the plan or it's too long?
That is a bit too long because that's that's very technical as well. So it won't be adding much value in that sense. But for this podcast per se, but the whole thought process of this going, this whole process is something which can help anybody because this is a very general model. In fact, you can even copy paste the job description or the CV or whatever from other persons, put it on ChatGPT and ask it, okay, this is the Fortune 500 guy, his LinkedIn profile or her LinkedIn profile. I want to be like this. Currently, my profile is this. How can I do this? At least it gives a general guideline or a general understanding which no one else will give it to you. So that is something which we were discussing at that point of time. But I researched and I figured that part out.
Not bad, man. Because for me, I didn't do that research yet. But I think how I find out if I'm good enough or not, like an experiment I did about 3, 4 months ago, is when I think one of the episodes I was talking about one of my contacts who's from England, Sean, right? He's like a brother to me now. So I was sitting and talking to him, and I was telling him, how would you rate me compared to someone you've met back in the UK or the US or any other countries that you've traveled to? How would you rate me with my skills and my confidence and with my mentality, my vision? Would you rate me that okay, this guy is in the top 1%, or would you say that this guy is different? His first thought was, why are you even asking me that? Why are you asking me that? Why do you put yourself down? I said no, I'm not putting myself down. I just want to know, compared to a global scale, from someone like you, am I good enough? I want to know what I'm missing. He said, if you ask me, I would say you're in the top 1%, man. So yeah, but of course, your genealogy, your skin color, your where you're from, your accent, your passport, everything else comes into the picture as well. But the point is, if you are a skillful person, a talented person, no matter what the color of the skin is, no matter what your fucking passport is, no one can fucking touch you. You are good at what you do. So even right now, when I go to a lot of people, they don't give a fuck if I'm Indian or not because they're like, this fucker has content. I understand what he's saying. I'm intrigued by him because the one philosophy I always follow is, if someone spends time with me, they should have fun and they should take something away from it. Either I get value from them or they get value from me, but it has to be both ways. It can't be me just taking value from them and going. No, I have to share some golden nugget there for them to be like, shit, I want to meet Vignesh once more. So this attitude has helped me get a lot of, let's say, attributes that the top people have that I was missing, which I'm working on, of course. So this led me to another method of mine. So like Shiv said, he asks ChatGPT and finds the stuff, right? So what I do is I talk to the people. So there's this guy in my building. I'll walk through this. So he parks his Lamborghini in a very weird way, right? He always parks it in between two parking spots on purpose. And it's a very secured parking spot because he doesn't want his car to be scratched. So I completely understand why he does that, right? But I took that and I'm like, okay, a normal average human being would look at that car and just go, must be a rich fucking egoistic fucker just parking his car like this. But I said no. His he's parked it on purpose every day the same way. He parks his car at what 10 a.m. in the morning. He leaves the office at 8, and I said, if I can find out the person from this parking, like if I can profile him, then that would be something creative. So I use that. I'll walk you guys through. Or you guys can follow my sales titan page and to understand how I did it. But I don't want to walk through the case study as per se. But what I'll tell you is, I found the guy. Right? I found his attributes. I found out what he might look like, and we nailed him. And we found him. So then I just texted him on Instagram. Just took a shot. I was like, "Hey man, by the way, I did a case study on how you park and everything. It was pretty interesting. I would love to meet you because I have a lot of opportunities and I want to learn from you." That's all I said. Right? He called me to his office. Then I found out that he's the top five real estate agent in Dubai, which is a big thing. And top five for the last 4 or 5 years is a big thing. So I said, okay, how did he do that? What did he do different? Right? Am I good enough as him? Like, am I as good as him when it comes to sales? And we started talking, and it was a 1 hour conversation. He was learning a lot from me. He was mind fucked the way I did my case study. He was like, "What the fuck, man? This is how you found me?" I was like, "Yeah, man. You gotta do shit in a very unconventional way, right?" He was like, "Yeah, what the fuck?" But the way he was talking to me, the way he was explaining things to me, you could see that, okay, this person, they know their shit. What is the attributes that they have? Okay, what am I missing? How can I make sure I'm as best as them? That was one. When I was talking to Sean, okay, what does he have that I don't have? Two. When I was talking to, let's say, Suleiman Azizi, what is the body posture? What is the characteristics he had that I did not have? Every single network that I make, I learn from them. I see why they are the best at what they do, so I don't get separable from the 1%, right? Use the same mentality when it comes to your industry. So I was telling Shiv right now, anybody in any industry, take sales, marketing, digital marketing, finance, mechanical engineering, any fucking industry, name the top three people in your industry or top three people in your same role, what they do. Top three, name them. Not a lot of people will not be able to name them because they don't even know, they've not even researched. Now if you find the top top three people that lead your industry or that's part of the industry, you will try to see, okay, let's say they are destination B, you are destination A. If you see the top three of your industry, you'll understand, okay, these guys have this is this, I have this is this, what do I need to do to move myself from point A to point B? And that's when the game changes. Because once you do that, that top three might be in any fucking country. It can be America, it can be fucking, okay, come in North Korea. So it can be anywhere else, right? But the thing is, you find out who they are. Now, I told Shiv the same thing as well. I said, Shiv, in what do you know who the top three are? In what I do I know who the top three are? And I kind of have an idea, right? I'm following all the top salespeople. Then I'm trying to learn from them. So if you guys can find out the top three people from your fucking industry, you guys are fucking sorted. Because now you have a goal where you have to go. And it won't fucking matter which company you're part of. You can be part of a Fortune 500 company, or you can be part of a startup, or you can be part of an SME. But your skills is what makes you who you are. Now, let's say if you're part of an SME, I was just telling this example to Shiv. Let's say you're giving an interview right now, right? You are excellent at your fucking job. They look at you and they know this person is the fucking best. He's even better than who we have right now in our company. You think those motherfuckers are going to say no to you? They're going to be like, we need this guy, right? Yeah, of course. The lot of other variables like your salary expectations, all that stuff comes in. I'm not saying no. But once you fit their salary range and you're as good as what they expect you to be, and let's say even if they don't have a position open for you, but you're fucking good. I am 100% sure they'll still take you in, and if they have to fire the existing guy, they will. Like if I have a business and I find out a guy who's way better than who I have right now, but yeah, of course he's part of the company and this and that, but this guy can get the job done for me in the most, you know, best fashion way I can ever expect. Of course, I'm going to take him in, and I'm going to tell the existing guy, listen, bro, I found someone better than you. I'm very sorry, but you did not work hard enough to make yourself as good as him, right? It's a dog eat dog world. I'm not going to say no. If people come shit on me for that, please be my guest. I don't give a shit. But at the end of the day, this is how it works, right? So I was just saying, if you make yourself the best in your fucking industry or in your fucking interest, whatever it is, no one can say no to you. And you will, no matter where you go in the world, you will always be prominent. You will always be different from the crowd. So this is something I was telling Shiv as well. And
Something you mentioned. Okay, finish your point because I want to expand on the mentor part a bit more.
no, because what I was thinking of was I was telling you that, and we were talking about matching the skills as well. There's something which I want to tell you, but I forgot. But it's okay. Tell me. Go
So,
on.
so something about mentor, I think I want to carry forward a bit. Where let's say one was the Chat GPT, and the LinkedIn part I said. So the other part, which actually I went through a thought process, is that mentors actually play a big role in this particular case.
Definitely.
Since you said you mentioned Sean and all the other guys,
Yeah.
I remember that even I have someone, let's say in the marketing field per se, is Vince. Like so, certain people you get access through the company. Certain people you get access through the internet, like the Instagram, Facebook, whatever you see. So like Vince, which is associated with us through the company. So in that case, what happened is he unlocked a different part of my brain where he made me understand that a lot of marketers, they focus on the acquisition. So let's say you get a client in the system, you get it through, I don't know, a Facebook ad, a YouTube ad, or whatever, like, or maybe a SEO. You get a person through that, but a lot of people don't focus on the part of after you get this person in, how can you increase their lifetime value. So he gave me example where he used to do a course business. Let's say he's running a campaign in Nigeria. Okay, so over there no one will spend like thousands of dollars on a course. So what he used to do is he used to get them for a cheaper cost, let's say $2 or something, and then he kept upselling. Okay, so when you get it for $2, you see this value. He used to keep upselling for $30, $40, $50. He used to unlock a lot of levels and keep upselling them, and overall they spent $1,000, but they won't realize they spent $1,000. They got it for $7. So he said the game over here is upselling and making sure they can spend as more as possible. But majority of the guys will focus on acquisition, like acquiring for whatever works out, SEO, blah blah, whatever is there. Everybody focus on that part. But if you can nail this part for any company, after they come in, how can you make sure you get more out of these guys and make them stay longer? That is something which very few percent of people know. So that kind of insight you won't get from chat GPT as easily, or maybe from internet, because internet is filled of like a bit generic version,
Yeah.
and people might teach this in certain courses. I got it through person who's actually part of the business, so he has to give me that kind of insight for me to even work on the business. So that kind of stuff comes from a person who is a veteran in the industry, like he has been there for so long, knows how shit is done. So this also unlocks certain potential in you being the best version out there, because these guys can guide you, but ultimately it's your call to put the work and and show the results. Because a lot of people can know this particular piece of information, the whole company knows it, but how many people are willing to go through shit to get that done? That is another part, which comes along with this. You can only be best if after knowing the information you do something about it as well. So yeah, that is something which I want to say on the mentor part, where you get all this information, but okay, you need to make sure you implement it and see if it works for you or not.
True.
So okay, I'll add one more part since you don't remember, right? Do you remember the piece you're gonna talk? Okay, I'll just make it pretty quick. So, in when I'm talking about the guys outside the company, which we see on Instagram and all these social networks, you can consume the information. But there's one discussion I was having with Vince where he mentioned that Gary V, like Gary Vaynerchuk, also runs his own business, and he has a very good acquisition piece where like he has his face everywhere, so it's very easy for him to get in clients. So he has a piece of business which is called Vayner Media. Okay, it's only about, it's an agency which handles sort of businesses. So for that, what happened is like Vince went and spoke to Gary Vee in person, went and spoke to Gary Vee, and what happened in the case is that Gary Vee passed that whole project to an intern, and that intern basically, the intern's like just doing the job. It's no, you don't get the same quality, but of course, it came in for the face of this guy. So what happened in that case is, even he mentioned, even if you go to Glassdoor, you'll see like how they treat the employees, the salaries, or the happiness and blah blah of this organization is not that good. The Vayner Media. So maybe on the leadership front, he's a bit weaker and he doesn't want to have that kind of environment. But socially, he's very like massive. He's a big guy. He has a lot of good thoughts. Everything is good on that part. So what you need to do is you need to see what is good, what is bad. Of course, this bad I would have never known before. Since I spoke to Vince, I got to understand that this is something which can happen as well. So now my eyes are open. I can't just trust this guy completely, which is the whole world is like that. I can't trust you completely. You might have certain shortcomings as well. So if you assess in that way, it's easier for me to see your how genuine you are, and there'll be a genuine connection, because I know everybody has their own flaws and everybody has their own weakness in that sense. So in that sense, you have to see what makes sense to you, what actually is helping you out, and then consume that kind of stuff and dig deeper. So don't take 100% for whatever is saying. Maybe you'll say something today and I'll hear it and I'll try to say it to everybody without even applying it. Then you become an imposter. So there's a very thin line between actually knowing your shit and just being an imposter and repeating whatever Gary Vee is saying out. So that's what I want to say in this piece.
You know what? Since you said this, I have a question for you. But before I come to the question, right, let me just say the point I remembered. So I was just telling Shiv. So right now, since Shiv is in digital marketing, right, he handles about, I think, I don't know the exact number or whatever it is, but he's handling, that's the budget he's handling.
Mhm.
Now, if you see someone from Google or whatever, right, they're handling like 100,000 times more, right? Same thing with me. Let's say a sales guy, I might have the same skills, but he might have closed $1 billion worth of clients, and I might have just closed like 5, 6 million. So now the question comes in, right? Okay, because they closed 6 billion, maybe they have much more insight on something that you know that you might not have. So that gives you the skill disparity. How are you going to close that gap? This is a question we were discussing as well. So that's when I was telling Shiv, that's where you talk to other people. So like Shiv said, that's when your mentors come in. Because now you find the best in your industry and you see how they did it, what kind of deals do they make. Okay, now since they've closed $1, $2 billion, how do they do it? What is the experience that they gain from it? You need to also know the right questions to ask them, because if you don't, then you're not going to get the answer. So here you have to. I just gave Shiv a very an example on the spot today where we were having lunch. So there's like I took a can of salt and pepper, right? So I kept one can of salt on the table directly, then I kept a can of pepper on the tissue. Now, when I moved the on a tissue box, sorry. So when I moved the tissue box and when I moved the salt just on an empty table, the pepper can on the tissue box moved faster compared to a salt in distance. So I was just telling him that's the analogy I used when it comes to a mentor. When you learn from his experience on how he closed billions, it moves your journey faster because you'll be able to close many deals faster. Now, if Shivank learns how someone with a budget of, let's say, 100 million, 200 million deals with digital marketing, then once he gets 5 million or 6 million, for him, it's nothing because he's already seen and he's already understood the experience of going through it. Now, yes, a lot of people will say no, but you have to go through the experience to learn it, which is completely true. But at least if you know the foundation of what that experience consists of, you know exactly what to do to apply for it, right? It's the whole application and the structure that creates the experience, right? And then you might know, okay, you know what? When that person said this was gonna happen to me, and it's happening right now. So now I know what to deal with it. I know how to deal with the solution. So this is what I forgot to mention. So you guys have to, you know, talk to the best people and ask the right questions to find out exactly how to handle that.
And in case you're wondering how did we find those mentors or what exactly we went through, there's a separate podcast episode for it where we spoke about how do you find mentors or how do we just approach people who are way bigger than us. So that should give more clarity as well.
Yeah, I think I don't know what I said there, but we must have said something solid, right? So that was one. And the question I was coming to share because you said there's a thin line between imposter and this, right?
Yeah.
Now there are a lot of people running around saying "fake it till you make it." Do you believe in faking it till you make it?
So see that the certain fake it till you make it is, let's say, about certain habits you have or certain things, like a bit superficial ones. Like, I mean, not in business wise, it's not making any sense because you can fake it. Let's say you can be like, okay, you know what, you do these three steps just because I read, and then you know what, it will work out. How is it possible? You don't understand that this business that well. You don't understand anything in that depth. Once you have that depth, only then you can come with the conviction that it's going to work out. I'll give you an example. Basically, like say let's carry on the Gary Vee example. Okay, he used to mention that, you know what, you need to have one long form of content for like 30 minutes or something, break it down into like multiple smaller pieces and post it everywhere. Make sure you blast it everywhere. The frequency is good. Blah blah blah. I used to go in interviews. I used to say the same bullshit to them. I never did. I never used to do it, but I was like, you know what, this makes sense. Fucking, I should do it everywhere. Someone who doesn't know digital marketing, they'd be like, fuck, you know what, this is good stuff. But if I was sitting on the interview seat right now, I would fuck this guy up right now. I would be like, explain it to me. Walk me through how you'll do this. Walk me exactly how long it takes in each process. Walk me exactly how much will come in. So that guy will get fucked down. So because there's a lot of constraints which come in. Even if I have to move this pen, right? Let's say if I have to move from here to there's certain constraints can come in. Maybe I have to throw it there, it won't land at the same place. A lot of stuff can come in, which you don't understand, before you actually do it. Same with the flight. Let's say if you're a pilot and if you're flying the sole aircraft, you don't know what exactly goes into actually make it fly. You just think in your mind, okay, I can fly. It makes sense. It's an aircraft, but there's so many mechanics which go in it, right? That is where it doesn't help. Like, you can fake it, but you cannot make it that way. So in this particular business sense and skill wise, you cannot compete with somebody. I think I mentioned as well, right, about local versus tourist in couple of, the podcast earlier, where if you're a local, you've stayed in this skill for, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, day in day out hustling. You can see it. You're the local. If a person comes in with 4 months of experience, you can figure it out. You'll know how much depth that person has gone in. So you can't fake that much.
No, because now what you said right now fits into our whole topic, right? So now imagine a guy who's sitting in front of you, like you know his work experience is 4 months on his CV,
Yeah.
but he's talking to you in a way where you think his experience is 15, 16 years because he's spoken to the best people in his industry and he's learned from them. He's understood the whole journey. He's understood the experiences that will be involved. And he's giving you insights which a 15, 16-year-old experienced person will have in that industry. But he's only 4 years experience. How would you look at it?
So there's the difference. The difference is, this person, if he says in a cocky way, or let's say if he says, you know what, I know for sure, this is gonna work, then that's different. If he says, you know what, I've done my research, I've known all this stuff. This is what I know. We can try it and see if it works out. There's a different way of pitching that idea. Because right now you have
No, true. What you're saying is true. But my question is, a guy is sitting in front of you with
Yeah.
a 4-year experience,
Yeah.
but the way he's talking to you and the way he's giving his examples and the way he thinks why this might work, why this might not work, what is the strategy that we can employ and all that, like a person with 16 years of
I
experience.
understand what you mean. Yeah, of course you'll value that person more because it's actually adding value on the
Because
table.
right now our whole podcast is basically making sure that people, even with a 2-3 year old experience, they talk to the right people to make sure they are more experienced here
Yeah.
than practically. At least by in theory, they are more experienced, and they just are looking for a platform where they can make it practical.
Yeah.
So my only thing is, once they show you that okay, I'm capable of consuming the kind of experience I have, even though I only have 3, but my mental experience is about 15, 16 because I've spoken to the right people, I've got the right information.
I'll give you an example, bro. Since you mentioned this part and you actually emphasized this, right? So it happened to me like 2 days ago when I was in the office of Google. There was I think I told you this as well, where there was a, what do you call it, like a panel discussion ongoing about new market expansion. Okay, so these panelists were discussing how they approach in their company and how they can expand markets, what factors do they consider in. So it was a bit of a general stuff, but there were a lot of big guys like Revolut's I think managing director was there. There's some company called Momo. I never heard before, but those guys also there, like 2-3 more people as well. So I actually spoke up because I said, I raised my hand. I was like, I have something to add. I have never done a market expansion to that extreme where these guys are decision makers. Okay, these are like 35, 40 year olds sitting over there talking about, they've seen it. They've actually seen a market expansion. All I know is insights, and I have not done it in real life. I know by others' experience. I know by what I've seen, what I've read. So I mentioned an example to them that I got it from a book basically. I told it to them that there's deliberate strategy and there's emerging strategy where Honda did this. When Honda wanted to enter US, they actually they wanted to expand in the car business, which wasn't working out. But at the same time, there's an employee which was using a dirt bike, and then the dirt bike was used in Japan, I think, on some street. And over here, it was just sitting over. They didn't want to sell it, but this guy started hiking with that. His friends saw it. They started coming, and eventually the group became so big that they were like, you know what, our deliberate strategy isn't working. This is the emerging thing. So they pivoted to selling just the dirt bikes over there, and that's how Honda entered US. I said this in the like in front of the panel. Everybody is sitting over there. These are all fucking like C-level people inside that room. So when I said that, I added a value. Okay, that insight was there. There was a pause in the room where they're expecting something more, where they wanted me to say, you know what, so I applied this thing in my company and this is how I grew it. And then I know for sure claps would have come. But I didn't have the second part. So what you mentioned right now, the intern or whatever, the young guy sitting over there telling, this is what I know, this is what you can do, you gain a respect. Like you won't get the ultimate respect, but at least compared to your age, they'll feel okay. Fuck, this guy actually is lit, and you can get more opportunities. It unlocks opportunities, but you have to also see that okay, age can be certain limitations unless you climb the ladder, unless you make yourself so good that you're part of the decision making room. You're the decision maker. When that happens, right, your skill and the decision making combined has reached. That's the peak of what you can be like. And when that comes in, then you're untouchable.
Yeah, say that line you wanted to say. You wanted to say what you wanted to say. I know I read your mind. Say it.
So you have to be so good that they can't ignore you.
There we go. I just knew you wanted to say it.
No, I didn't want to say it this time, bro. I think I've said it a lot.
No, but that makes sense now, right? So that's why I said that.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think this is a discussion we had, and hopefully you guys learned something because at the end of the day, like I said, talk to the best people in your industry. The first step would be to finding who they are. Talk to them, understand what their modus operandi is like, right? Walk through that, compare it with yours, see what you can do better, and at the end of the day, at least you'll be as good as the top 1% in your industry, no matter which fucking country you are in. It can be Africa, it can be Asia, it can be Middle East, no matter where the fuck you are, which region you are in, you'll be sorted, right? That's what we wanted to share in this podcast. Anything else, Chef?
No, pretty much cool. I think we touched all the bases.
Beautiful, guys. We'll see you in episode 14 next time. Peace.
See you guys.